ring.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to start the show in a sec.
If it works again.
We're going to start the show, hopefully, with the intro and...
All quiet.
Shh.
Let's all welcome Mr. John, the Censored Citizen Niems.
What happened?
I didn't do it.
Let's all welcome Mr. John, the Censored Citizen Niems.
You are now rocking with the best.
Hey, is the mic on? Hey, can you hear me up in the balcony up there? Let's get the show going. John Niems here. Now let's get to it. We're back after our 2-strike layoff. And it's nice to be back. I got my good friend Richard Holden on today. And we're going to be talking about a lot of things as usual. The name of this show is The Government Loves Us to Death. Don't you just love the government? Don't you just love the mainstream media? And my new song coming out soon is Celebrities. Don't you just love celebrities?
Oh, boy.
Okay, folks, we're going to get to it. We're going to start with my song, Politicians. Listen, it was out in 2014. Listen to it carefully because it's really apropos with what's going on today. Let's go.
Politicians, they hate us for our freedoms. Politicians, we really do not need them. Rigged elections, that's all we ever get. As all our presidents are puppets. Corporations, Wall Street and the banks rule our politicians. They don't deserve our thanks. Then they tell us the banks are too big to fail, when the banksters all need to be in jail. We're
Welcome. We all want to be alive. Welcome to James Miller's here. Lenny Jane, Sugar Skull, John D. Liberto, and Ed Holton, among others, are coming in today. I want to thank you all for supporting the show. I've been censored on so many platforms, and to me that means I'm not what they like. And also, World War III is here, folks. If you don't think this isn't World War III, taking all our freedoms, that's what they're doing. I mean, they got a different way to do World War III right now. But anyway, I'm here again with my good friend, Richard Holden. We've been friends for, I don't know how long. How long, Richard? You want to say hi to the crowd?
We're going on our second year.
Our second year we've been buddies, and it seems like we've been knowing each other for our whole lifetime, doesn't it?
Yeah, we haven't had an argument. Nobody sued anybody yet.
We haven't had an argument. Well, let's get one tonight, huh?
Okay.
Anyway, Richard, is great to see him more than ever right now because he's had a few things happen in the last few weeks. Do you want to talk about your heart attacks, or do you want to leave that alone?
Oh, sure. I can talk about my health. I had 2 heart attacks a week apart, and I got well with the emergency truck giving me nitro tabs under the tongue, and then I couldn't believe I was actually sick, and it took me 3 days before I could fight my way out of the hospital. And they, by that time they'd run every test in the book, and they told me that the prognosis was that I was going to die someday, and I thought that was pretty good. But I still was trying to figure out whether I had a heart problem.
Didn't you interrupt him and say, "Tell me something I don't know"?
I asked the nurse at 4 o'clock in the morning. I said, I just need to go outside because I can tell as soon as I'm in the cold air whether I still have a heart problem. And she got another nurse, and she told me that couldn't happen. And she got a doctor, and she told me that couldn't happen. And I had to explain the difference between God's law and hospital policy, which I was in a St. Francis hospital. A Mercy hospital, a Catholic facility. And I thought they'd understand what God's law was. And so they kind of did. I said that it's so controversial to say the word God anymore that you'll probably know it better as natural law. And natural law says that I'm a free man no matter where I am. And now that you're trying to keep me from expressing my freedom, I have to insist I'm going to go outside. And so they decided to discharge me against the doctor's orders. And I told them when they wanted me to sign the document against doctor's orders that I said, I've enjoyed everyone in this hospital, and I'm sure not doing anything against any doctor's orders. I'm trying to go outside and evaluate my health so that I can tell you what you need to know when breakfast time comes around. And that was what none of those 3 people could possibly imagine. And so they asked me to sign the waiver, and I said I can't sign that because that would make it a contract, and it would mean that my signature is under duress, and I would make the document fraudulent. So I can't sign that document either in order to protect your legal system here. I'm going to go outside, and you can sign it maybe yourself. And so that's what we did. They marked up the paper, and I walked out. And come to find out, I didn't have a heart problem. Walked around downtown. It was about 10 degrees below zero. I thought that'd be a good test for heart problems, and I didn't have a heart problem. And so I called my son. He took me home, and that's how I got out of the hospital the first time. Then on Saturday night, I was sitting in bed, and it started happening again. So away I went again, and I got a stent in one of my arteries, and they told me that I'm going to die someday. And I said that's what I got last time too. And but pretty much, if they actually put the stent exactly where your problem is, you get well immediately.
And they did that then. They did something right there, right?
Yeah, they got me completely well, and I remained pleasant to those people. And so I thought maybe I'd read you one of my research posts that mentioned that.
Yeah. Let's. By the way, Richard has the best post that he writes every day. I get about 20 emails from him, and they're very comical. And I told Richard too that for a guy with 2 heart attacks, he's one of the funniest guys with 2 heart attacks I've ever met. So there you go.
Well, I basically am always laughing about things. Even
Laughing's
though
good for you. That's a good medicine right there.
This one is an email series, 5 or 6 long, and the first one, and they're all called Catheters, Stents, Cuffs, and Coffee. I'm going home today. My rerun heart attack ran up against vasodilation, sublingual nitro tabs, the cardiac cath lab, titanium transhumanism, and Catholic hospital prayer over the public address system. I didn't get a new engine or an overhaul, but Iowa farmers are held together with baling wire, pliers, and work gloves. I'm good to go. My research efforts seem to be kind of sleepy as a side effect.
Yeah, well, see, one thing about Richard too, when he reads me his stuff, I never know when he's finished, but they all make sense. And
Well, I'm going to read you the tail end of that last paragraph as soon as I explain what it's talking about.
okay,
In the group of researchers I pay attention to are about 50 different people, and I've known them all now for 2.5 years, and they're all just dealing like crazy with their channels getting exploded and censorship on words and commenters getting deleted in real time. And they're all just clamoring and losing channels, and it's getting to be a very difficult thing for all the people that have done such a wonderful job of illuminating my viewpoint, which was zero as of 2 or 3 years ago.
right.
And I've been on here one other time, and I kind of brought everybody up to speed on what it is even. And I don't want to really do another one of that. So let me just explain that some of the channels are changing. And one is Michelle XYZ. Michelle XYZ has been around. She's got channels blown up routinely. She's had up to 15,000 subscribers. And so she was being attacked by the trolls, and they were trying to convince the subscribers that that Michelle wasn't really Michelle anymore. She was some ugly person living in the basement or the attic of her mom's house. And so she just got fed up, and suddenly, for the first time I ever saw, she did a in-person car video explaining who she is, and transvestigating herself in a very quick, easy way. And she showed how easy it is to actually see what a woman's supposed to look like. And
Right.
so you can go to Michelle XYZ, and you can see her in her full spectrum of womanhood. And
But she took it down already though, so I don't think
no,
that.
she put it back up.
Oh, she
took it
did.
down
Well,
today.
and people don't know she was our guest here about 5 weeks ago or so before we got our 2 strikes.
She's the top of the list of what you got down below. So
Right.
everyone enjoyed her, and she felt like she couldn't show her face on that show, and I was always like, oh, that's too bad. So I saw Michelle XYZ for the first time about a week and a half ago, maybe, and I think she proved that she is who she is, and that's what transvestigation is all about. You have to actually come to terms with every fraudulent, crazy thing that's going on, and convince your listener, your viewer, that you're not part of the craziness. And it ain't that easy, but you might go see how she convinced people. I would mention another transvestigation YouTube channel, and her name is on the channel Blue Heron.
Yeah, she's
Her
another
name
one
is
that's really
Lori,
good.
and you've talked to Lori. You watch
Yeah.
her now.
Yeah. I mean, I've talked to just about everyone on there, and they always like when I comment on them, and they always do great work.
As soon as these 2 ladies realized that they're up against such a huge process, Lori is taking it into a whole nother realm. Beyond transvestigation is what she called it. So that's a good group of videos to look at too. So if you want to get your feet wet quick, go to Michelle XYZ and go to Blue Heron, and you'll see Lori. And her last post was her singing a duet by herself, and she has the most amazing voice, and her story is very amazing too. But just check out what's going on in transvestigation and beyond transvestigation.
Right.
It appears that there's something.
Did you see her video on the Trumps, the up close after when they stuck their tongue out?
Oh yeah, well
that's something I posted, but I don't think anybody saw it on my Facebook page. But there was a lot of things that looked like they had snakes coming out of their eyes. It's up close. I'll have to post it again on Facebook after this show again and let people see it. If all my friends who are here, are they on my Facebook friends, go down the list quite a ways, probably about 30 or 40 things, and you'll see Donald and Melania sticking their tongue out, and then up close, she stopped the video, and you see some really strange things coming out of their eyes, coming out of their nose, out of their face. And
she doesn't know how to tell you what's going on. She just knows how to show you things that you're not seeing yourself.
Well, exactly. We don't know what's going on with that. I mean, it's so crazy, and that's what we're up against. And in fact, in what we are always going to refer to things as a Colt 45 and the jab, and I mean. As I always tell people, I won't do any of that because my healthcare provider will not allow me, and my healthcare provider is me. I say that every day wherever I'm at, and people look at me. Well, what do you mean by that? Well, don't you think what I mean? I'm researched. If you're researched, you know this is World War III. This and Australia, all the countries that have it worse than us now. That's where we're headed, though. That's why people should pay attention to what's going on in other countries. Because that's where we're going fast. And by the way, people should know that Richard, he said it was 10 below zero. He's in Washington, Iowa, and it's cold. We have all that snow. In Texas, the power outage, I don't think, was an accident. A lot of people were talking about chemtrails going like crazy in Texas before. As people should know what the HAARP, the high frequency active auroral research program. My thinking with HAARP is they should take the active out of it and just don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So anyway, Richard and I talk about everything, literally. We talk about flat truth. I say that today. What I think there's nothing off the table with us. And everywhere we go, we're considered nut jobs, but anyway,
I think the only reason you can get two people like me on the air, basically, it's always risking absurdity. That's the concept that you go on the air, you don't know who your listener is, and you don't know what they need in their lives, but you're trying to give them something to go on. And so my research has now been actively on transvestigation for the last 2.5 years, and I posted 11,460 emails over that period of time, each one describing something that I didn't know before, and that tells you how ridiculously ignorant I was then, and how ridiculously ignorant I'll probably be in the future. But I try and find something so startling, so unusual, that I try and describe it and send it to about 6 people. John's one of them.
right.
Michelle's one of them. Lori's one of them. And I try and give the people that are not transvestigating as much as I am kind of a summation paragraph when I start my research document. And I tell you, as I start this program, I want to introduce the word occultocracy. Occultocracy means that there's something hidden. There's something, the occult is hidden from view. And when we're running around arguing over this and that and whatever the newspaper has brought forward and what people saw on TV, we're probably not really ever scratching the surface of the power that runs the world. And that power I have named before the Black Lagoon Empire because it's black, you can't see it, and it's a lagoon, it's deep.
Right.
And it is empire. And when you think that we're running this show, that we're the American people and we're so powerful and our government is working for us beautifully, you have to scrap that concept immediately. And another concept you might have is you went to school and somebody told you something that now you can rest on your whole life. No, that won't be the case either. This occultocracy is what is running our life. And we think it's a democracy. Oh, we think it's a republic.
Yeah, those are two words that come up, but people really don't know what those are anymore.
We might think it's a socialist state. We might argue over communism. We might think that we know what's going on. No, we don't know what's going on, and we're not finding out. And what we're dealing with is a agenda, an overarching agenda of deception. You can't fight your way through that deception without intense research. And then the way I would suggest is even when you have it really, really clear in your mind what this concept is, you cannot say it's made out of gold. You can't tell everybody else you know and everybody else doesn't. No, you won't have any luck doing that. But maybe you have some chance of saying something that is stimulating someone else's mind at the place they are. You're trying to get them to have the correct viewpoint toward research, why it's necessary, why most of the sources that you could possibly come across in your daily life won't help you. They're distracted phenomenons. They're not trying to tell you anything. They're trying to tell you things that keep you from knowing things.
Yeah, and add to that, I can talk with people about the flat truth, more than I can about transgender. I mean, flat Earth is something that I can talk. I can talk about the Hawley hoax more with people, but you talk about transgender. You're trying to talk with wherever you go. It's so deep. And that's why I live with the more I know, how little I know. At the end of the day, what you're basically saying is that the more we find out, the more we realize we don't know jack. Wait, by the way, can I say Jack? Wait, that's your dog's name, right?
He'll come.
Is your dog coming? I shouldn't say it too loud.
He'll come over.
Well, we do know Jack in your case, but we don't know Jack in many other cases. That's bottom line.
So this occultocracy is worldwide, and it is thoroughly subverted and infiltrated all governments on earth, including the UN, including the Department of Health,
the World Health Organization,
including the medical profession,
right,
including the legal profession.
And that's what we're seeing how they're doing it all together on this. It shows how they're all working together.
It looks like there should be somebody working on our side. Somebody.
Right. And
but if you see them in front of a TV camera, those 6 major media corporations are smack dab in the center of occultocracy. And they're not going to show you any speaking head that's talking the way I am.
Well, if they do, they'll say, listen to this conspiracy theorist give all this information. And that's how they make us into nut jobs. Another slogan I have, I'm a nut job for truth. That's what I am, okay? But if you don't like it, I want to know the truth. And then we got organizations like the CIA, the FBI that are supposed to be working on our behalf. Have they ever worked on our behalf?
I don't know how many people in there know that they're not on my team.
None of them are on our team. That's what we're seeing. And
so in order to get a handle, in order to deal with this agenda of deception that is just permeating everything until everything is rotten. You can't find a single speaking person that's not rotten to the core, and they're going to try and tell you that they're God's gift to you. But man, that's as far away from you as you can get. And if I'm the only one that's saying this information, and you haven't found it in somebody else, if something I say tonight is like, wow, I didn't hear that from somebody, well, it's because that somebody is trying to leave it out. They might even have a wisp of it and know about it, but they sure aren't trying to tell you about it. And so tonight we're going to try and kind of help figure out this, what I now started about a month ago calling EGI, the elite gender inversion.
Right. That's what this is. It's
gender,
everywhere you look too, and it's in entertainment, it's in government. Everywhere you look at the top of the food chain is bottom line.
There's a power structure, and we call them the elite. I have many worse names than the word elite for these people, but they regard themselves as high and mighty, and they are making sure that they do have the levers of power. And so this elite gender inversion, you have to know that it is a phenomenon of power, that it is a collusion of your enemies against ordinary people. And there is such a thing as ordinary people. We're very nice people. When they try and make a case that there's domestic terrorists in the United States, that's a pipe dream on their part, because they've already studied that 10, 15 years ago. The American public is so far away from terrorism, you can't even believe it. They have exactly the opposite problem. They're fast asleep. They're working all the time. They have 3 jobs. They're trying to raise kids. The kids are trying to run around and figure out how come everything doesn't make sense. And so now on top of that, we've got the manufacture of a health, fear, terror campaign. And I think we have evidence that every once in a while somebody comes in and fights for their life the way they usually were. And they come up with about the same numbers as they usually did. And we call it something that seems scary enough that everybody here in Iowa were given the permission to take off their masks.
Yeah, and they're still wearing them.
Almost no one did.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. People are getting so used to this as a normal. That's the new normal, the reset.
It shows you that what they're hearing on the TV is scaring the hell out of them, and they're going to stay in that mask for the rest of their life.
The television is what I call it. That's all they do.
It's the most amazing thing. For me, I didn't wear a mask the whole time because I know about masks, and we talked about that before.
Yeah.
And I thought that it would be very interesting to see the governor of Iowa say, okay, forget it now. Well, she did. And I couldn't tell. The people didn't change.
Well, that's Richard. That's what happens to me. I'll have someone with a mask on, and I'll read, the stuff that I have that I showed last time about all the problems with the mask, and they have their mask on and they're looking at it, and I'm thinking, well, after they see all the problems with it, you would think they would take it off immediately. No, they still leave it on. Even after all the problems I show them.
Now, your show is much different than anything else. It's a combination of waking up to this deception agenda with conversation and amazing musical pieces that can gel everything down, give it to you in the most smallest number of words with wonderful melodies. And if you can't start down the path of learning what you should be learning, because, there is a duty about life, and there's a duty about being a patriot. You just can't fly a flag on the 4th and get away with it. No, you have to have a pattern of life where you are part of the constructive process.
Exactly. And that's what I always say about like the national anthem. I always tell people, why would I stand for a song that sings about bombs bursting in air and all the illegal invasions we've done? Why should I be proud of that? And that's what the fake patriotism that's out there. People don't even know why they're standing. I'm standing because I can watch my TV every night and watch all the game shows or whatever. But the only reason they have the national anthem before the game is the military, like in the NFL, signed a deal. They want players out there. It's another propaganda trick to get people to stand for that, and they make a big issue of that. And there's no issue in that. In my mind, the song doesn't need to be played. In my mind, you don't have to stand because it's not going to fix anything. It's just another way of making people think they're doing something when they're really not. That's the bottom line.
As we deal with the processes of this occultocracy, we see the number one thing we deal with, and we have seen it in other countries. We know all about it. It is not any longer something we never saw or studied or know anything about. It's called propaganda.
Yeah, and it's legal here now, remember.
Saturated in propaganda.
It's legal now. So once it's legal, 2012, the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act, they made it legal, and that opened the door for this whole thing.
And the concept that we can have our public Facebooks, Googles, YouTubes, Instagrams, WikiLeaks,
all censored.
We can have an overarching censor,
right,
and have that actually be their decision. I mean, we know that's not true. We know that that is a crime right there, right in plain view. And we know the corporations are getting away with it. And we know that if we let them get away with that, because what you want to hear the most is somebody you don't agree with. Even if they say something terrible.
Well,
you want to make them, you want to provide them the platform so that they can make an ass out of themselves.
Right. A mandate is not a law, folks.
You want these people to promote the concept that is the most disgusting concept, and then show what kind of a person has the guts to be that far off.
And this is what's going on now. Everybody that is going along with this, they all tell you, wear a mask because their boss said they have to or they lose their job. They got people all afraid of losing their jobs without thinking that maybe, if we just grouped ourselves and went to the boss and said, listen, who's telling you this? Because it's unhealthy to wear this. We don't feel well when we wear this. And if we get sick, who do we sue? You or the guy that told you not to, to make this mandate in workforce? All these workforce people, and there have been restaurants that, there's so few that have done it. Like Tony Roman, I bring him up a lot. The Italian restaurant in L.A. who's never done any of it. There are pockets of places where people are standing up. I'm a guy that stand up. I let me tell you, last week I actually put on a mask for 10 seconds. The first time I had to go fix a pedal that was squeaking. And the first time I went there 2 weeks before, I could pull my sweater over my face. And the guy who was in charge that day said, that's fine. The new guy, I said, I'm just going to be up there a sec. It was like a 10-second walk to the elevator to go up to the guy's 16th floor. The guy was adamant. I'll lose my job if you don't put on a mask. I said, listen, it's only for 10 seconds before I go up. What is the reason why would I put it on? I never wear it. I have a mask medical exemption, which by rights, that's the law. He should not make me put it on if I have a medical exemption. Truth be known, I have a researched medical exemption that know the mask or nothing. So anyway, I know this is full disclosure. I put it on. I put the mask on for 10 seconds, and I hated the 10 seconds. I couldn't breathe. I was like, people are wearing this all day and getting used to it. Are you out of your minds? Anyway,
we are now witnessing what amounts to be the greatest attack on the United States ever perpetrated.
On the world ever.
Started, yeah, but us, we're the number one target. And,
exactly.
They started by attacking the medical community. and they silenced doctors. They censored doctors on YouTube, and so suddenly you catch somebody, and a little bit later they're gone, and so then you're trying to think, well, who is the doctor? Who is the doctor that I can look up and I can listen to and I can get my feet on the ground? Well, you're going to have to find a doctor that already lost their job,
Right.
because they said something that they weren't supposed to say, and now they've survived going homeless, and now they're speaking, and that person's name is Dr. Simone Gold, and she is a gold doctor.
Right. And there's been others. Remember the ivermectin doctor.
Yeah.
And I tuned the piano for a doctor, a Croatian doctor, 2 weeks ago. I haven't told you this. He says they won't allow him to treat the patients with ivermectin. And he knows it works. And they won't allow it. So what does it tell you, folks? They don't want you to be healthy. They lump everything. And then I met my 90-year-old friend who had his eye fixed at the Mayo Clinic last month. The Mayo Clinic, folks. They fixed his eye. On the way out, he talked to a nurse about the Colt 45, whatever you want to call this thing worth going through. And the nurse said, well, we put everything in the COVID. Oh, they just... Oh,
they no longer
okay, forget I said that. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, but everywhere. The Mayo Clinic is doing it. Everywhere you turn, they're doing it.
They damage the credibility of the medical system.
Strike 3 coming up now, folks.
I mean, I don't know whether they can ever survive it. You can't believe statistics at all. You can't believe the health department at all.
Right. And remember Bill Gates talking to the people with the book on his desk early on in this? He had the book Lying with Statistics right in plain view.
There is a truth. I mean, truth doesn't have to be so hidden in this crazy agenda of deception, but it is. And for the people that don't know how to approach a deception agenda, they're going to get taken for a ride pretty much every time.
Right.
And so how do you approach an agenda of deception? Well, first off, you're going to have to put in some time. If you try and do it too fast and you don't actually develop your good patterns, and you heard my numbers, I'm up to 11,460, you better start cranking bigger numbers than you ever thought, because you're going to need those events in order to start building this anti-deception phenomenon. And now you have to get a little bit humble. You have to get a little bit humble in that you're going to make mistakes, and you're going to research as well as you can, and you're going to put in the time you can afford. But essentially, you're going to always be with the concept that conversation should not ever go to an argument. You should just basically be building your little stacks of, I heard that this was important, and I heard that this was important, but not try and figure out which stack is the best.
Right. That's the problem with too many people. They want to argue all the time.
What should be in this stack? And this stack might be for or against something, or building up something, or tearing down something. And that's what you start developing this technique. And you're not taught it. And if you don't practice it, you won't have it. And you will damage your life by not knowing it. And your actual health depends on it now. You're going to have to know that hydroxychloroquine is a done deal, and ivermectin is a done deal. And we've had plenty of time to figure out those two drugs.
And all the done deals are scratched from the mainstream.
And zinc.
I take a zinc tablet every day, by the way.
Zithromycin. Those are the big four, and you can switch off ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine. They're very similar in how they are paradoxically involved in an antiviral program. So if you don't walk in the proper strength and knowledge, and you meet somebody that has a white coat on, and you don't question whether they're approaching your health properly and you're coughing and wheezing along, you better not do what we did for years and years. We thought the stethoscope around the neck was the way you told whether you could listen to somebody. No, that's not it. And the white coat, throw that out. All the ways that they dress up in uniform to make you think they're the best source.
Right.
You cannot use that.
And look at the cancer scenario. They always treat it with chemo, and there's so many natural cures for cancer. But in the mainstream media, what does it always say? There's no cure for cancer. Give the cancer. How about all the cancer charities they have out there? You know, when I'm walking out of like a grocery store and they want to give for breast cancer, I always say, well, is this to end mammograms, to radiate the breasts? That's not a good idea. And they always say it's about getting more mammograms. You know, I mean, if you do enough research on every type of cancer, you'll find there's cures on all of them, and you'll find what they're doing, the medical communities, what they're doing is making it worse or making them get cancer, I should say.
We are not in a war on terror. We are in a war of terror. And in order to be able to function as a patient, as a consumer, you have to be able to practice not being scared of every damn thing, because most of what you see on the TV is trying to scare you. And as soon as you get scared enough, you can't think.
Right, and people aren't thinking.
You can't make your proper lists, and you can't ask the right questions, and you're so timid.
Boy.
And they call everybody sheeple for a reason, but I kind of like sheep, so I'm talking about
exactly.
something where
let's give them a little credit.
I like sheep, and I'm talking about survival as a population of ordinary people that are surrounded by saboteurs, infiltration agents.
Yeah, everywhere. Every truth movement has the infiltrators. Then you have people that you think are smart, and they're limited hangouts. Limited hangouts will give you some truth, not all.
Right?
And by the way, everybody's listening to Richard tonight. I think Richard's hitting a home run with everything he's saying tonight. I hope everyone wants to share this. And let's take a breather right now and play my favorite CIA song, When in Doubt, They'll Take You Out. And I happen to have written it too, so let's take a breather, Richard. And everybody can sing along, I hope.
When in doubt, they'll take you out. That's their M.O.
Oh, there's Jack.
And most use remedy. They're high-paid thugs making billions on illegal drugs. Under the guise for yours and my national security. The CIA, they collect their pay to start their dirty wars. That's all that they're good for, the CIA. Plausible deniability are their two favorite words. And when their crimes are exposed, their denials are simply absurd. Why, oh why, are they given so much free rein? Since 1947, they only create fear and pain. In the CIA, where killing is okay, they love to assassinate. Too many have had that fate by the CIA. Just ask JFK
And his brother Bobby.
Let's not forget the FBI,
Oklahoma City.
Israeli Mossad, as they compartmentalize,
USS Liberty.
working together in tandem with them, creating false flags like 9/11.
Sandy Hook.
In the CIA, where killing's okay, they love to assassinate.
We have 3 shows.
So many can relate.
MLK.
The CIA, they collect their pay. They do their dirty deeds. And do we really need the CIA?
I think you know the answer to that one.
The CIA.
What a happy and snappy song.
When in doubt, they'll take you out. When in doubt, they'll take you out. Don't you just love these guys?
I do.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Richard, before you talk, I want to leave. I had this email come to me about 20 things to do in resistance to all this. Number 1, say no. Number 2, don't follow bad rules. Number 3, believe in good people. 4, stand up to injustice, evil, and swine. 5, communicate with people with an open mind. 6, support good and good people, not evil and swine. 7, form your own opinion. Now that's something that I've always told people. You know, I got my own opinion, and when I see the lies, I can come up to my critical thinking. Hey, it's a lie. Number 8, look at the world and at people beyond your worldview and your social bubble. Number 9, timely fight. And there's always a place and time to know when. Don't do it like, well, I've had many times when I'm surrounded by masked people, and I don't try to get them all mad at me. Just a few. Okay, number 10, do not fight pre-lost battles if it has no positive impact. That's another thing. Don't get a lot of people PO'd in a store that they want your head. Don't deal with jerks, fools, and pigs unless unnecessary. Now, I don't know why they had to put pigs in there. Pigs are good. Pigs are smart. And I hate it. I give to a lot of pig sanctuaries, by the way. I give to a lot of animal sanctuaries. Actions, number 12, take actions. Number 13, cops and soldiers, get them on your side. Now, that's hard to do sometimes because they're paid to make, if they want to keep theirs again is to keep your job. They're paid to make sure that you obey. Support civic leaders. Teams, cooperate. Get teams. Get some other peoples and to get going. Organize into groups and movements. Media. Get the media. Well, the media, I don't know about that. I don't know if they're going to ever come around. Demonstration. Now, I used to hand out 9/11 DVDs from about 2003 to 2016. When I first started, we had about 40 or 50 or 60 in the corner here in Vegas in front of the New York casino. And the last year, it was me and Bob. And then sometimes Bob wasn't even there. And so often I'd get this comment from people, oh, I know what it's all about. And I'd say, well, take some truth DVDs to show other people. And they go, oh, no, it's okay. You know, get people to get active. Evolution instead of revolution. 20, armed and violent resistance. Yeah, I believe that people should have a gun. I don't have a gun, but The only time I shot a gun, by the way, was I was in my 30s. My dad took me out in the desert in Arizona. He gave me this big pistol to shoot. I shot one time, and I was shaking a little bit, and I gave it back. I said, Dad, okay, I got the idea. That's the only time I shot a gun. I'm a non-violent guy. But anyway, now back to Richard. We had a break. I thought there's some good points in that. Always try to get other people. What I do is I try to wake people up every day, everywhere. Don't ever not try to wake anybody up on a day. If a day goes by and I didn't try to talk truth to somebody, I get mad at myself. I try to talk truth 24/7, whenever and wherever I am. In homes that I'm at, I get people mad at me, so what? Let them get mad. They should know it. If all they're doing is watching the TV and getting their news from the TV, if that's all they're doing, you got to try to show them some truth. I don't go to all of the truth, but I try to show them one truth. Anyway, Richard, you have any comments on that?
Yeah, you got to get out of your comfort zone just a little bit. And if you actually tell people things that that you've looked into, you're going to get some back pressure because people just really don't like somebody just spouting off, and so you're going to have to develop your technique.
Yeah, I have over the years.
And one of the things that you just really have to get control of is anger. Anger stops all conversation. Now, the topics that people want to talk about here in Iowa are always the weather. I always tell them what a nice day, even though it's a rat day. I tell them beautiful day, and that's enough to get the conversation rolling. And then there might be something else that you kind of giggle along and help them imagine that might be a topic that you could be interested in. You have to know that the schools are not the educational facilities that you can depend on.
Yeah.
They might teach you how to, do something in kind of a very structured way. But as far as breaking through this deception agenda, they're part of the deception agenda.
They're useful idiots, most of them.
The teachers are not trained to do adequate research. They're not even researching their own field, which is dangerous. And they're not encouraging to be a very good researcher, which means that developing sources is absolutely essential. You have to learn how to do that. And you have to, of course, you never can take somebody as the end all, but you can find good sources where much of what they say fits into your unnecessary learning. And I don't have enough time to be on a show like John's to explain everything that I ever found out. So
exactly.
I can only tell you that there's a path, and you have to get on your own path, and you have to calmly and quietly, without making anger part of your dialogue,
right,
discuss it.
You made me think of something now about starting a conversation, and I thought of it just now. It just hit me with a light bulb. Say to somebody, hey, did you see those pictures of Mars that NASA says they're on Mars now? Have you seen those pictures? Do you think those look real? Do you still believe the moon landing? Do you think that looks real? That's something that I think right now with this Mars thing that NASA's throwing out there now, I think we can talk about that a little, right? Because they're showing these pictures everywhere like this is really happening.
In a deception agenda of this magnitude, expect everything to be full of it.
Exactly.
And that doesn't mean that you're looking at somebody that got to be 73 and suddenly lost faith in the world. No, I have the same faith in the world I've had since the beginning, and I've gotten better and better at figuring out this process around us. The government is not protecting us. It's not planning on protecting us. It's not working on our side. So what is the engine? What is the engine of the world? It's ordinary people. They have to find enough time to actually pay attention and develop a method of intellectual analysis. I mean, that'll scare the hell out of most people right there, intellectual analysis. But you have no chance participating in your life unless you develop the process. And that will improve your income, that will improve your family, that will improve your ability to survive crazy processes going on around you. And you won't always be the dupe. I mean, that's the power. Occultocracy is an active process of making you the dupe.
And they
the
create
joke's
those
on
every
them.
day. They create the dupes every day, and their television is their main way of doing it, man. The television.
You have to develop this idea that you have pride and that you're not going to be made an ass out of. Well, that's easier than it looks. I mean, that's harder than it looks. I mean, you will not be able to just say that's the case and get away with it. You can't just read the newspaper and get away with it. You can't watch TV at 6 o'clock and get away with it. You are going to be the dupe. And if you don't get on a very good path of finding your sources, and of course, YouTube just destroyed them all as far as most of the main ways you tell which way's up. And if you still think Google and YouTube are on your side,
Right.
I mean, you missed the boat. And right now, we're hoping BitChute comes through a little better. I mean, we even have evidence that BitChute out of the UK is destroying and having trouble uploading and starting to pull our leg too. So we're starting to spread out in many video servers, and people do many different topics. And if you're not catching the people that are trying really hard, I don't know. One of my favorite is the Last American Vagabond. Now that guy, every time I don't see him routinely, but every time I get his hour program, I appreciate his work. And so, find out your sources that are that you're proud of, and then keep them a little bit at arm's length, because everybody can make mistakes and everybody can pull your leg. You hope that you're not still watching Alex Jones thinking that he's a patriot. No.
Yeah,
missed that boat.
Well, and David Icke, I used to love David Icke, and I still like him. I think he does a lot of good work, but his job before he became this all-seeing, all-knowing David Icke was he was a weatherman and a soccer player, and I didn't know that was a prerequisite to know everything, but that was his past. And I'm not knocking soccer players or weathermen. I mean, come on.
Well,
but you know what I'm saying about it.
The more you research, the more you realize that there is something major going on. So whenever they say that there's a group of people in the United States that are insurgents and terrorists, and that the people that have any ability to speak up at all, they're going to get thrown in jail because that's where they're supposed to go.
Right.
I mean, this is getting real old.
Yeah, you're talking about the 17th letter. The 17th letter. I can't say that. That's another.
Take it in every damn time. Develop some pride, and even then you'll get taken for a ride, and you go, "Oh, that hurt."
Yeah.
And recover rapidly, and learn from whatever got you, and develop a better method of finding the people that you want to have lead you through your life, because the human condition is such that we all stand on other people's shoulders. And if you don't find the people that you want to stand on their shoulders, whose shoulders are you going to stand on? You can't even get any higher than you are.
Well, how about the fact that Rudy Giuliani is always brought out as a guy that's a good guy? People seem to forget that he was a cross-dresser, and that is he was the mayor on the day everybody knows. I don't have to say that. I don't know what, but he's not a good guy. Yet this is what gets me about the short-term memory of people. They always bring out other people from the Bush Cheney regime to the Obama regime to the Reagan Bush, and they bring out people from back then as all of a sudden they're good guys. None of them are good guys. At the end of the day, I try to tell people, a Democrat or Republican, they're the two-party system, and it's not for us. Ever and never was for us. So
if you believed what you were taught, which I thought it was pretty good story
at the
in
time,
American civics class. Uh, you probably got some information as far as the structure of the government and as far as passing the test, but they sure didn't tell you how to prepare for what we have right now, which all the people that are telling the truth, they get censored,
right?
and it's exhausting. They try and recover, they try and come back and continue talking, but they've been damaged. And both Lori and Michelle have been damaged to the point that they have just a couple of people figuring out what they're talking about, but they're supposed to have about 15,000. So Google YouTube is a war-gamed influence on our ability to speak to each other. And they've done a great job. I mean, these people have all the money in the world. They print money out of air and they hand it out and take all yours. So in order to know how to approach investment, how to approach spirituality, how to approach parenting, you're going to have to dig. And you're going to have to dig really hard. And then most likely, if you've had good luck, you're going to develop opinions that other people think that you're crazy.
Right.
So you're going to have to deal with people muttering around.
Well, look at all the stories we're told in history, like the Christopher Columbus. When we were young, he's the greatest guy. He discovered America. You can start naming all kinds of people. Sigmund Freud. Well, he's the father of psychiatry, and he's a great guy. And didn't he say something about it was okay to have sex with your mother? I mean, I can't even say it here. I mean, you start to look back at things that you were taught in school, and you realize how ridiculous it was. If I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't have gone to college, but I would have been drafted to go to Vietnam. But I would have learned to be a piano tuner after high school. I mean, that's what I would have done back. But I didn't know that then. But I'm just saying, I try to tell kids today, learn something outside the box now. More than ever, kids should learn something out of the box, because you want to have your kid go to school, they have to wear a mask, sit around a glass around your desk. How is this treating kids to be nice kids? I mean, and the suicides, by the way, are up here in Vegas last year. I think it was a sad case of 18 or something in Vegas. And, the unemployment's up, homelessness is up. It's so sad. Bankruptcies, small businesses can go, like in 2008, banks were too big to fail. That was the slogan. But they created the whole thing back in 2008. It's always the same people creating it. I don't know how people can trust this long. Even if you are watching the tele-live vision every day, and every day you put on that mask, and every day you going along with this, the 6 feet apart, doesn't it dawn on you that, wait a minute, at some point, doesn't it dawn on your brain, this isn't right. We're not supposed to be treated like cattle. No offense to cattle, but they're mistreated. Farm animals are mistreated more than anybody. Oh, don't get me started on that, Richard. Did you bring that up, or did I? I forget. I don't know. Everything's so sad.
The engine of all culture are the ordinary people.
Yeah, and they're not being ordinary now. Now they're being cattle.
If you don't, as a culture of ordinary people, develop this burning desire to know, then who does that affect? It'll affect your life, but maybe you can stumble through it somehow. But the people that you see around you, the people with the least amount of power, are going to suffer the most. So who are those? As a crowd of people, who would you look at first if you weren't doing your duty? Children. As a group.
Right.
The least powerful. And they will be the most affected by you allowing yourself to be duped.
And the saddest thing I see.
Off track.
The saddest thing I see, and I'm sure you do too, when you see parents walking with their little kids, like 4 or 5, with their mask on. I just want to, I want to say, what are you thinking about making them wear those right now?
It's like, how many times can you see a helpless child in a situation where they're basically at the bottom of the stack? They're standing out somewhere, that they're not getting the appropriate care, and they just get ground up.
Right.
So you go, oh, I'm too tired to research. I don't want to read. I don't want to see anything controversial. I don't want to tell my friends things that they don't want to hear. And then you go, well, let me see, who am I affecting the fastest? Well, the homeless, the children, the disabled, the old people.
Small businesses going bankrupt.
I just got through saying most of the people you see around you
are being.
I just told you they're the target.
Right.
So that's the agenda that we have. The agenda is to try and destroy ordinary people. We've seen them destroy small business. That's ordinary people. And we see mega millionaires, trillionaires making money hand over fist because they knew the agenda long ago. And we're sitting here going, how did you know that? Well, they research that and they talk amongst themselves and they plan it. They plan the agenda.
Yeah,
this was the top of the crock.
Remember Lockstep from Rockefeller in 2010, the Rockefeller Foundation Lockstep? It's exactly what's going on. Then the Event 201, the end of 2019, that was the playbook. Let's get everybody together to see how we're going to get this going. And they always act like, well, we didn't do it. It's not our fault. But I was going to say the power outages in Texas, it's pretty obvious that was a plan. And I think we got up to 15 million people who had no power. That was inexcusable. But I heard some phone calls coming in. My wife and I had a guy taking phone calls about Texas. And they were talking about chemtrails were more than most before it, and that's part of it, I think. And I always like to say that chemtrails, to me, is a good example of that. The powers on the top, there's a lot of it is about blocking the sun. And I always like to bring up to flat earthers to bring up the fact that if we're on a spinning globe going 1,000 miles an hour, 66,000 miles an hour around the sun, and the sun's 93 million miles, would it make sense that they would think they could block a sun that far away? Or would it make sense that they could block a sun that's only 3,000 miles away and that there's a dome above us? So that, to me, chemtrails to me is an example of that the powers above know that the earth is flat. But going back to the power outages, the calls that were coming in were talking about the poor sections got the power outage, the rich sections didn't, which is another thing that's happened. Disaster capitalism is what I call all this stuff. They redid a lot of inner cities and they made it for the rich. Katrina, afterwards, they built it up for the rich. Haiti built it up for the rich after the earthquake. They can create earthquakes, folks. HAARP, HARP. They've been doing all kinds. And in the 60s, remember the 60s is when the military started talking about we get control of the weather. And we can take control of everything. And Henry Kissinger, one of our most proud men out there, I say that sarcastically, obviously, he used to say, if you can control the food, and now what's Bill Gates doing? He's buying farmland everywhere. He's all about the GMOs. Bill Gates, I don't know how anyone cannot arrest that guy for crimes against humanity. I mean, this guy is, he's king of that. Who made him king of the world? And Dr. Fauci, huh? Anyway, I had to get something in there in a rant. And I'm not screaming or yelling, folks. I'm trying to keep my cool here. But I was gonna play another song. If you got something to say right now, then go ahead.
It has to be in style. It has to be in style to be smart as a fox. Right. And to never be the dupe. Never get taken advantage of. Never get in a line where everybody's going rah-rah. Because this rah-rah thing is a distraction. And you just never want to be in a line
That's
of people
what sports
doing,
are all about. And you
goody two shoes.
and you brought up
Because-
Mark Twain's great quote: "If you find yourself on the side of the majority, it's time to pause and reflect." I mean, that is that the best quote? I think.
Yeah.
If you find yourself in line with a mask, folks, pause and reflect.
If we can increase the percentage of people that are trying to do what I do, just try it for a while and see if you can at least put in a year or two where you develop your techniques. Then we're going to start seeing us pull out of this mess. But if we don't do that as a group of smart people, we're not pulling out of this mess. This mess is going to go to the next level. And we're not going to want it to be like that.
No,
It's going to start ruining everything that we put together in the last 100 years.
Well, that's why I think the internet, I think, kind of was backfiring. That's why they started censoring, because people were waking up, but now people are going back to sleep. But remember Jay Rockefeller in the early 2000s said we got to close down the internet because people were waking up about 9/11, I think.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
in 2007, I went to this great meeting of all 9/11 truthers down in Arizona. I thought, man, 9/11 truth is growing like crazy. Well, no, what happened afterwards, it went down the drain because they had so many infiltrators in it. And that's what they do. They infiltrate smart. A lot of movements, like the Flat Earth movement, they infiltrate that. This is infiltrated all the time. You still got doctors thinking that the germ theory is real and you can catch something in the air. That's how they try to stop any truth movement. They have infiltrators, and that's been the oldest trick in the book by these top of the 1% of the food chain. You know.
You have to find some people that are kind of starting to figure it out, and the people that think that the government is your buddy, those people, they haven't been paying attention. And ever since Vietnam, I mean, we could tell our government is not our buddy, and we got a lot of people hurt over that deal. And then we did 2 more wars and 2.5 here, there, and wherever. There's tons of wars going on. And we just have to go, wait a minute, those ordinary people aren't doing those wars. That's the occultocracy.
Right.
That's the hidden hand. That's the power that doesn't even show you who they are and doesn't even tell you what they're doing. And so if we don't have the ability as a culture to tear apart fraud, we're going to get all hell happen to us.
Right. And I think what you mentioned is what I want to play the next song, Innocent People, like you're talking about, ordinary people. I wrote this song in 2007, and this is all, there's all, listen to the words, folks. This is what it is. They all go against the innocent people. We're going to start this song.
You don't have to be a lowlife your whole life, Mr. President. You don't have to declare war on innocent people, on innocent people. With every generation, there starts a useless war. Blue blood manipulation, they tell us what it's for. They now have Boy George, they use him to destroy. And he follows their orders as soldiers get redeployed. You don't have to be a lowlife your whole life, Mr. President. You don't have to declare war on innocent people. You don't have to be lowlife your whole lives, the Federal Reserve. You don't have to take resources from innocent people, from innocent people. family takes their pay. Committing crimes against humanity as the media looks the other way. You don't have to be a lowlife your whole life, Mr. President. You don't have to declare war on innocent people. You don't have to be lowlifes your whole life, the Federal Reserve. You don't have to take resources from innocent people, from innocent people. From JFK to 9/11, when will we finally get some truth? Coup d'etat, both inside jobs. War is a racket. The masses are the pawns. Come on, everybody, sing along. You don't have to be a lowlife your whole life, Mr. President. You don't have to declare war on innocent people. You don't have to be lowlife your whole life, the Federal Reserve. You don't have to take resources from innocent people. You don't have to be a lowlife your whole life, Mr. Vice President. You don't have to declare war on innocent people, on innocent people, on innocent people.
What everybody is.
It's time for the
People to get smart. It's time for the people to sing from the heart. And by the way, did you get the fever for the cowbell on that song like I did? I think everybody should have got the fever for the cowbell. That was Jesse McGuire, a good friend of mine from Phoenix, on the trumpet, by the way. And he came up in 2007 when I wrote that song. And I'm still proud of all my songs. That one, whenever I hear it, though, I say, yeah, they don't have to declare war on innocent people. That's what it always is. It's the top 1%. Every war has been declared and always infiltrated, started by the banks. The banksters started World War I, World War II. They're behind this. Oh, they give us a stimulus package. Oh, boy. Did that stimulate everybody out there when you got your stimulus package? Oh, I like the way they call it that because it just makes it feel so warm and fuzzy, you know. Hey, everybody, you're bankrupt, you're homeless, whatever, you're sick, but we're going to stimulate you now with $600, and I don't know how far that's going to go. Do you know how far that's going to go? What do you think there, Richard? Is $600, would that buy you a bag of beans?
That's not the answer to the whole schmear.
No. But anyway, get back. I was doing my George Carlin bit right there. A lot of people think I remind them of George, and I thought I'd do a little George. And anyway, where were we?
I thought maybe, since you're an artist, I could act like one and read you something I wrote about 25 years ago. I wrote this book called Barely Moving.
Right. You write some great poems.
Around and I thought maybe something in here would be fun. And I could probably sing it to you, but why don't I try doing it the way I wrote it?
Okay, well, wait a minute, though. I'm going to censure in that. No, that's not allowed on my show. I'm sorry. You're not going to be able to read a poem. I'm sorry. On this show, sorry. Okay, yeah, go ahead, Richard. Take all the time you want.
Okay, this one's called Aspiration. Perhaps I have nothing to tell you today, but I'll give it a try. I'd like to at least officially remember our fellow man's torment. Since I know the taste of torment in some small way, I'll take note that the misery of our lives is the living hellfire. No need to wait. In that regard, perhaps devoting a little lip service could lay it to rest. I think knowing that looking over the world's people would find many problems, diseases easily killing children, when we already know the many cures. Food piled high and rotting at the party at the Beverly Hilton Hotel. Intelligence with the wisdom of experience still needs a standing army before our collective minds can think about saving us from torment. Military research brews up tomorrow's machines of robotic flames, launching the war forces to make the world safe. Just one more time. Over the centuries of dictionaries of words thickly devoted to explain this have been edited down to fewer and fewer variations of language. The subtle nuance between concepts slowly lost to pressures of time. My mind, following this pattern, willingly giving up lofty human aspiration. Breaking free of this debasement of existence to accomplish a high goal is like trying to produce the greatest sandcastle just before high tide. With my back to the crashing waves and the sun at the colorful horizon, I'm putting the final delicate touches to the high spires of human being.
That was, I'm speechless on that one. That's one of your best. I think you read that one to me before, didn't you?
I might have, I don't know.
Yeah. Richard has great talent for putting words like that together. And my only problem when he reads things to me, though, I never know when he's over. He ends, and then I have to wait because I never want to interrupt him. So I'm like, is he finished? Is that because he never does a the end at the end. I wish that's how you should start reading them
There
to
was
me.
a year, 25 years ago, where I wrote every night one.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't learn how to do that in school. I would have resisted every one of them as far as the high school project. But somehow during this year, I had the chemistry to sit down once a night and write it out. Didn't need editing, didn't need correcting. It came out of me like somebody was writing it through my fingers.
Right.
And I would watch what was going on in the paper in just the same way as you heard it just now. It's like I would pick it up when I'm done and I'd go, where did that come from? And maybe one of the exercises that you could take from what I just read is the most challenging thing to face is a blank piece of paper. And you could get yourself a pen and once a day try and get something down.
Mm-hmm.
Because you will be just as surprised as I was as where did that come from? How come I'm talking about that stuff? And then you keep it and you read it 25 years later and you still don't know.
Right.
You really don't know who was the author of that. And you can be proud of it if you want to, but that whole language process, you need to develop it until you and that blank piece of paper aren't scared of each other anymore.
Well, I see a parallel in what you're doing there in my songwriting. I've written hundreds and hundreds of songs, and the three we played tonight as an example, I listen to them now after I wrote them, and it just came out of me. It's
Mm-hmm.
But what I do with
it can come out of anyone.
with my lyrics, what I do is I equate it to be, I put as many lyrics on every song as I can. I write pages and pages, and I equate it as throwing darts at a dartboard, and the ones that stick are the ones that go in the song. And so I have a similar kind of feeling. What you're saying is that there's many times I hear one of my songs, I go, where did that come from? I don't, I'm not sure, but it's when you just see so much going on and so much wrong, like with innocent people. It just came out of me. You don't have to declare war on innocent people. Come on. They didn't do anything to you guys. And that's the thing, going back to what we were talking about, the national anthem. Everyone wants to be a proud American. Well, how many innocent people have we invaded? How many innocent people have we killed? And since I was born in 52, that's quite a few, right? I mean, does it make any sense? And the media, even though now the propaganda is legal, because since the Smith-Munn Act of 2012, the Modernization Act, it's an open door for propaganda being legal. But since I was born, the media always spins it to be, we're the good guys. We're the good guys. We're dropping bombs on innocent people over there in Vietnam, but we're the good guys. We're dropping bombs on innocent people in Iraq, Panama. They did chemical warfare in Panama. That was an experiment kind of thing of an invasion that George Herbert Walker Bush did. That guy that then they spin it that he was a good guy on HBO. They did a thing on him, and same with Showtime. They spinned a thing about Cheney being. They tried to show that these two guys had hearts, that they were nice guys. The funny thing about the Cheney one, though, I don't know if I told you, Cheney and Rumsfeld had a love affair immediately. That's basically the way they said. When they saw each other, they was like, "Whoa, he's like me." And they spun it on Showtime like there was a love affair with Cheney and Rumsfeld. Oh boy, I'm really proud of those guys now. They really cared about each other. They didn't care about anybody else, It's like, but do you have another one to read from that? Is that your
You're going to request another one?
Well, that one was so good. Are the listeners out there? Hey, Sasha, you want to hear another one, don't you? Oh, yeah. Sasha's he's like we're all in tune to the.
I just went to another one. It says "Perfect World."
Oh, wait a minute. I don't know if I can stand that one. We're far from a perfect world, but yeah, let's go with that one.
Can there be any words left over to write on this line? Sorting down through the possibilities is a task so exhausting. I want to leave the reader with an uplifting message, but the construction of that message has continued to slip away. What would be the perfect world, then, I suppose, is the question. Where to live, what to do, who to know, how to think, can you breathe, when to start and stop, how to proceed, at what speed, for how long. How many questions with poor answers are allowed to pass? Pass for what? Where? When? By whose standard? Against what rule? What's the best motivation to accomplish success in straightforward manner? Phew, I perhaps spewed out my stream here to no one who cares. Like a tree falling in that forest with absolutely no one to hear. Just because I can't explain to you exactly how I see it may not help us get by, as our words may be just distractions. While I write them down, you are out living perhaps the good life. While you read them, your good life may falter, stumble, and fall. Should I write with the concept that I always make you better, never pulling you toward me to ride across ruts in my road? My shocks are worn, the tires low pressure, bodywork needed. Where does one find the right mechanic for this sort of work? I guess I just want the works, leaving a vintage model in perfect shape. I've got no problem with the way it looks to others by the road, unless I find myself unable to keep cruising by the hollow eyes, sliding to a stop out of gas, burning oily air seeping from the hood.
Body work needed here. Can I put a sign up in my? I just hurt my shoulder. That was wonderful. Now, what? There was some sign. One line in there. How many questions would poor answers? What was the final part of that?
How many are allowed to pass?
How many questions would
If you
poor
give a shitty
answers
answer,
allowed
How
to
many
pass?
you do?
Yeah, that's a song right there. But I think the new song title, the one I'm going to write now, is "Body Work Needed Here."
Yeah. Well, we need some monster body work.
Yeah. Hey, no, Sasha, I want to play a song that I sang this for Smokey Robinson back in 2003. It's called "No One's Listening." I thought he was listening, but he said it was too truthful. And I want to play that one, but those are great. We're going to have another one of yours after this, but we're going to play No One's Listening because think about it right now how apropos this title is. Is anybody listening to anyone giving the truth about what's going on? Nobody. I mean, the ones that matter. And even people, when you tell them, that, well, this is the truth, you believe Dr. Fauci over me or Billy Gates over me. So here's No One's Listening, which, folks, Smokey said was too truthful. So you...
All around the world today are people everywhere talking at each other, but no one's listening. The Catholics and the Protestants and grand old Ireland and over in the Middle East, there's no one listening. So why can't we get along? I cry 'cause no one's listening, and I had to sing this song and try to make a difference. So why can't we get along? I cry 'cause no one's listening, and I had to sing this song and try to make a difference, 'cause no one is listening. In so many homes today, people in despair, shouting at each other, but no one's listening. Heart to hearts are missing. I bet the Lord is wishing for more love, for more love. I'll bet the Lord is wishing for more love, for more love. I'll bet the Lord is wishing for more. So why can't we get along? I cry 'cause no one's listening, and I had to sing this song and try to make a difference, 'cause no one is listening.
So, you out there in the audience, do you think that song is too truthful? Do you think that maybe Smokey's a paid agent in the music business, like all of them are? They don't want the truth. Now, I thought too. By the way, he sings high, and I thought he would like to do that. But hey, I'm not. I don't want to pick on Smokey, but I still, whenever I hear that song, by the way, it sounds like I wrote it today. I mean, really, no one's listening. All the people out there are, again, it's all about the middle class can go bye-bye, the poor can get poorer, the rich can get richer, and it doesn't matter if it's capitalism, socialism, communism, fascism. It's the same result on every single one of them.
Did you say the rich can get richer?
No, not Richard. Not Richard. Richard, you're not okay. Richard, not get Richard.
I've
Okay.
been rich my whole life.
We're all blessed. Like I sing in my song, what was it? Made in Heaven. We're all blessed from the day we're born to have this life we live, but we weren't blessed to have these leaders that we're given. I didn't. That's the other thing about they always say, the slogan last year, your vote is your voice. And I had a response to that. Not to vote is my choice. Okay? There you go. I mean, real. Who am I voting for? Tweedledee or Tweedledum? Look out, baby, here we come. Was that a song or something? But, that's what we're up against. And we're up against it all the time. And I'm not obsessed with this. By the way, people, and I'm sure they probably ask you, Richard, do you do this all the time? People say to me a lot. What, I mean, research stuff? Yeah, I do that a lot. What do you have a life? People ask me, do I have a life? Yeah, I got a life. I got a wonderful wife. I got beautiful cats and my dog Dexter. Now, that's another story. That's another. Talking about my dog Dexter would be a whole show, folks. So I don't want to talk about Dexter right now. But yeah, I have a life. And my life is to find out as much as I can before I go to the big recording studio in the sky. Now, I always tell people this. In the end, the only thing that matters is the work you leave behind. Richard is doing great work. I feel I do great work. I'll be the judge of that is at the end of the day. But I used to say this a lot. My songs will be here 100 years from now, more than Jay-Z's will or any of these paid people out there. Someday they'll find my song catalog. Someday they'll find your poet books, and they'll say, God, these guys, they had a lot to say, but we're censored. Man, well, let's start playing it. Like Nikola Tesla, when the only time we got truth from Einstein, they asked him how it felt to be the smartest man, and he said, you'll have to ask Nikola Tesla about that. I never heard about him when I was in school. Did you, Richard?
No.
No.
Don't know that guy.
Yeah. Anybody that was an alternative from the agenda that they were teaching us, you never heard about. You have to find the truth. That's what I try to tell people. You're not going to find it watching ABC, CBS. Tomorrow night, I sleep every weekend watching golf, taking naps. And guess who's on the Stephen Colbert Show tomorrow night? Everybody tune in. Billy Goat Gates is going to be on the show. Now, I'm sure he's going to be talking about we need a third vaccine. We need a third jab. Oh, God. I'm sorry, folks. We're gonna have to abruptly end because I said the two words. We got to get these up to BitChute fast, Sasha. I mean, we got to get these up fast. I mean, that's how bad it is here in the USSA. Add another S, the USSA. Anyway, did I hear Jack just now?
I think that tonight's show has been talking about how to make the team win.
Exactly.
And we haven't really given you any of the how to shoot the ball. We haven't given you how to play defense, but we've been talking about how you have to get your mind around this challenge. And you're losing right now. You're losing real bad. It's embarrassing. And I was the captain of the basketball team, and sometimes I just said the simplest things, and things turned around.
Right.
And I just was like, God damn, you got to do better or something.
Yeah.
You're embarrassing yourself. And that's what's going on. We're embarrassing ourselves.
Yeah, I gave a
And
grade
we're-
for the people out there doing this. I gave the human beings got an F minus when this started. I gave that's the grade I gave the first day of it.
We have to develop this this ability. So I'm going to read my last one then, okay?
Okay, now what's the name of this one?
The word.
Okay.
The written word. Should it be sung? You know, sung with guitar, or should it be by itself? No music, no promos. Keep to a limit the bullshit, the words, I mean. It sounded great. No, it's cool, man. It's a house full, 300 people, man. Can the word be said to a sold-out crowd? What the fuck is the word? You ain't go in the know. If you get the reward for it, it cannot be the word. How can you get to the word? What's cool about that? Forget sold out, baby. It ain't sold out at all. No one will buy it. It smells bad. It is to me, the fact that this shit is way too close. Where do we go then to find the emperor with his clothes on? The Holy Grail. Where the fuck is that? The good stuff. The kind, the bud. The ganja. The stuff, the good stuff, the word. The word. The word. Ha ha ha, love you. Ha ha, love you. Hug you. The word. Who cares? The bartender? The waitress? The patrons? The owners? Who gives a shit? A tender piece of filet, grilled to the exact place. The word. You and me now. Hold it. Protect it. Okay now.
And that is fabulous. Again, once again, I got some ideas for. And in fact, I think every week now we should have the Richard read the poem hour and our minute or something like that. Those are great. Every one of them was fabulous. And again, that one sounded like you wrote it today. Well, you said you wrote that many years ago?
25.
Yeah. Again, like my song, No One's Listening. It sounds like it's right now. That sounds like it's right now.
Right,
The bartender, the waitress. Who's wearing a mask? They all are. God dang, what are we going to do? And how about this? When I go, here's something that's funny. When I go into guarded gate communities where the guard gate out there, they ask to see my ID, right? So I pull out my ID and I show it to them. They have a mask on. And I ask them, do you make the mask people, when they show you the ID, take the mask down? Not one has said yes yet.
Huh.
So they're asking for an ID to get in a guarded community, and they're looking at the ID with the guy with the mask on or the woman with the mask on, and they let them in. Now, I don't know about
That
you.
exact thing happened in the hospital. I told the nurse, I need to see your face. I don't know what you look like. She showed me her lanyard.
She would show you your face. We got to keep the nose covered, boys and girls. Unbelievable, man.
I just wanted to know what she looked like.
That's a lot to ask in this day and age. I do that when I'm leaving a place or I'm leaving a house. I'll be tuning a lot of times in a house, and they'll have the mask on the whole time. And as I leave, I say, can you do me a favor and pull the mask down? So they do it. They pull it down, but they pull it right back up. Like that 1 second. Ooh, germ's going to get out. Ooh, baby. You know, and I was talking to somebody. Who was I talking to? The masks are selling for dogs and cats now at Amazon like crazy. Somebody told me that today. Yeah, Amazon is selling dogs and cats masks and record numbers right now. Now, if I put a mask on my cats and my dog, I guarantee you it will be off within a second. And I'd say, what is going on? This is how ridiculous this is. This is beyond ridiculousness. There's a song title right there, Beyond Ridiculousness. But I'm definitely gonna. This body work needed here is definitely after I had this fall on my shoulder. I'm definitely gonna write that song next. Body work needed here. I mean, come on.
You need to regain pride.
Pride. Yeah.
Because, man, we suck.
Anyway, hey Richard, you hit a grand slam today. I want to end the show with my song Memorization that Sasha plays a great lead guitar on. And listen carefully to the words here because this is all about what's going on right now, Roy. And you shouldn't. The whole idea of memorization in school was to make us stupid, as far as I'm concerned. Memorizing things we didn't need. Play the song.
The older I get, my anger grows.
Yes, it does.
It's a safe bet, most people don't know that what we learned in school planted the seeds to create only fools with phony degrees. Memorization never made us smart. It was fertilization in the schools, that's where it starts. That's where it starts. We've all been played, it's so easy to see. Then we're all made to think that we're free. The older I get, I'm amazed at those who still are not upset by the ones that control. Memorization never made us smart. It's the sterilization of our minds and our hearts. Memorization never made us smart. It was fertilization in the schools, that's where it starts. Where it starts. When your mind starts to open, you see it all on what we face. The games they've been playing to close the walls around your space. The older I get, my anger grows. It's a sure bet, most people don't know. Memorization never made us smart. It was fertilizations in the schools, that's where it starts. Memorization never made us smart. It's the sterilization of our souls and our hearts. And our hearts, and our hearts, and our hearts, and our hearts, and our hearts. Memorization never made us smart.
That's the only song I've ever written where I tell the listener, please do not memorize the lyrics to that one. Please. That's I tell them, if you memorize it, I'll be upset by it. But the line of that I like of my lines in there, I'm amazed they're not upset by the ones that control. That's what's going on now. I'm amazed at people think that they can trust the World Health Organization, where the guy in charge was a former Ethiopian terrorist, the Center for Disease Creation, because they create all diseases. They've never stopped any. The bug pharma, where doctors have become pill pushers. They trust these people. They've never come up with a cure for anything. They chemo people to death, and they trust our leaders to go on the television and tell you to wear a face diaper and get tested, even if you feel good. You feel good, you got to get tested. Why? They stick a thing up your nose that has nanoparticles on it, and then they want to get the jab. And not one, but 2 jabs. And now Billy Goat is talking about a 3rd jab. And today I saw where Dr. Fucky said these words, we're going to have to mask up till 2022. And I'm sure in 2022, we got to mask up to 2025. Now, if I sound a little sarcastic, it's because I am, folks. So memorize this to everybody. Tell everybody when you're out there, talk to everybody. Listen, I've been talked, when I used to hand out 9/11 Truth on the strip, a guy went by and he got mad at me for doing it. He said, "You can kiss my balls," he said, real loud in front of children and everybody else. And I said right back to him, "Right here and right now." I thought that was a good response to a guy because I'm handing out truth about what happened on 9/11, which most people have forgotten about that day. Most people have forgotten just about everything that our country has done. All people ever want to regurgitate. Be patriotic. Stand for the national anthem. That's patriotic. Did you know that? I didn't know that. I thought being patriotic was to question the leaders when they're telling us to do the wrong thing. I thought being patriotic was not to go along with going to the war. Remember the great George Carlin in the 90s said, I'm not for this war. I guess there's something wrong with me, I don't know why everyone wants to go along. So anyway, to end the show, I want to thank my good friend, Richard Holden. I think everybody would want him back again soon. And like I said, you can come on every show and read a poem or two. We'll have it Richard Holden's 10-minute poem hour or a minute. I don't know.
Well,
I'm just making it up.
My book, I think, that is turning into a poetry hour.
Right. Well, we could do the whole hour. Just have you read your poems, and I'll sit back and I'll wear my mask and sit back and sleep and try not to suffocate. But anyway,
it reminds me of on the farm, 50s, relatives stacked all over the living room.
Right.
Adults talking.
Communicating, not on their smartphones.
The evening just nobody even checks the clock. And it's just that kind of a show.
There's my smartphone. I still have the flip. But anyway, Richard, it was great seeing you. More than anything, man, I love you, buddy, and I'm glad you're still here. I have 2 heart attacks. Everybody, I hope you're applauding Richard today in the chat room there. The guy survived.
That's a new record, I think. 2 in a week.
2 in a week. And I love the fact that when he was getting up to leave, they said, "You cannot leave." You cannot go. We're in charge here. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're doing a great job there. Anyway, everybody, thanks for coming. Now, I got to do the press the like button and subscribe and go to JohnNiemsMusic.com and download some CDs if you want. If you like the true songs you heard today, I got 12. I'm completely censored as a singer-songwriter. And if you like these songs, I think you know that that's because I target the ones in charge. And everybody's been asking, Richard, where's your YouTube channel? And Richard, you don't have one, do you?
I had animaldoctor.com from 84 till 2004, and I gave it up because that's as long as you can ride something like that. I talk to people all over the world about their animals, and I'm no longer a presence that way. I do write and publish to the email series. But as far as me being a bright, shining example of a location where you can come, I think we're on it.
Well, yeah, they can find you in Washington, Iowa. If they drive through it and it's 10 below zero, huh?
I'm on Green Meadows Drive, the only red house. I think you can find me.
Well, anyway, hey, somebody just walked by. Who was that just walked by?
Yeah, that's Edward. He's fixing dinner.
Okay. Well, listen, everybody, thanks. This was a joy. Richard, we'll talk to you soon, buddy. And
Okay.
I loved everything you said today. You hit more than one Grand Slam today. You hit about 1,000 Grand Slams. So thanks for coming on, my friend.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody, talk to you soon. We're hopefully won't get another strike.
Yeah.